Good afternoon, everybody.
It's shut.
Sure. So our understanding is that given a security circumstance that the Rafah border crossing remains closed today, but this is something that we are continuing to work with in partnership with the government of Egypt and the government of Israel towards safe passage for more U.S. citizens, eligible family members, and lawful permanent residents to be able to exit. The number of American citizens, LPRs, and eligible individuals to have departed Gaza continues to be at more than 400. The number I provided up yesterday, I don't have any additional updates at this time.
Outbound, inbound traffic at all through Rafah today?
It remains closed,
right.
is our understanding.
And in your conversations with Egyptians, do they give at all the timeline on when it might be reopened?
Again, I'm just not going to parse into the specifics of the parameters, as our understanding is that its closure was because of a certain security circumstance. So our expectation is that once that circumstance is resolved, the crossing will be open at the regular intervals that it's been open, and the flow of humanitarian aid into Gaza and the facilitation of foreign nationals interested in exiting will be able to do so.
Military support to Israel, and is the U.S. still in the position of not drawing any red lines for Israel?
What I can say, and this is not the first time that you've heard me, the Secretary, or Matt, or others say this, and dating back to October 7th, we have laid out in clear terms, and we have done so directly with our counterparts and our partners in the Israeli government, that there is a moral imperative, a strategic imperative, and a responsibility to distinguish between Hamas terrorists and Palestinian civilians in Gaza. And we'll continue to lay out that very clearly. And we have also raised directly that we believe that there are additional steps that can be taken by the Israeli government to ensure protection of civilians, and we'll be continuing to watch closely. You know it's going to be a good briefing when you have a former PRS director and acting
G7 foreign ministers in Japan. Obviously, they held in-depth discussions about. Just a brief update on the crossing at Rafah. Over the last 24 hours, more than 80 more trucks carrying humanitarian aid was able to enter Gaza. That brings the total to 650. Again, not enough. We're going to continue to work to push that. And as of now, we're aware of more than 400 Americans and family members who have been able to depart and sought the support of our embassy team on the ground in Egypt. There has been no change in that number since yesterday. So no more U.S. citizens or family members got out since the last time, since yesterday when I was up here talking to you guys. Prime Minister Netanyahu talked about an indefinite period where they would be on the ground. I think he was referring to the fact that in the immediate aftermath of conflict, it's certainly plausible that for at least some period of time, Israeli Defense Forces are still going to be in Gaza to manage the immediate aftermath and the security situation. But that nothing's changed about our view that shouldn't be the long-term solution, that it shouldn't be about an IDF reoccupation of Gaza as a long-term governance solution. Certainly the American citizens that we know are being held, but all of them. And in order to do that, as we saw with the first 4 that got out, 2 Americans and then 2 Israelis a couple of days later, there was enough of a pause in the fighting to allow for their safe passage, and that's what we're trying to get cemented, is an agreement for as many pauses as might be necessary to get all of them out. But it's a delicate negotiating process, and we're still working at it. What I can tell you is that we want to stay open to the idea that it might take, in fact, likely could take, more than one humanitarian pause to get them all out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
For a second day in the row, the International Committee of the Red Cross, the ICRC, was able to escort 6 ambulances out of Gaza City and to the Rafah crossing with Egypt, where I'm currently stood. We also entered Gaza with several trucks of vitally needed medical assistance that we planned to donate to different facilities that are in desperate need of medical items, including the Al Quds Hospital, which is managed by the Palestinian Red Crescent, our main partner. The ICRC, due to serious security challenges on the road, which included one of our trucks being impacted and with one of our drivers being injured, was not able to go ahead with the plan as we intended. We were, however, still able to deliver the majority of the assistance that we had with us to one of the major hospitals within Gaza City, Al-Shifa. These are not conditions under which humanitarians can work and meet the urgently required needs of the civilian population. Humanitarians, hospitals, and civilians must be protected under international humanitarian law.
In the last week, I've had to tell a father that his child has non-survivable burn injuries. We've had to treat with the team patients, young children that have been pulled out of the rubble after 48 hours. Today, we had a patient in theatre for further surgery, extensive surgery she's already had, and had lost 2 children in the attack that wounded her. We're still getting patients every day with very significant injuries that are going to take a long time to heal. We're really running out of things now, dressings, particularly for the burns. We're running out of anaesthetic and analgesic drugs. The staff, both ourselves and the local staff here, are getting very worn out. The living conditions are very basic. There's not much food. Electricity cuts in the evening, difficult and irregular communications. But of course, this is nothing compared to what the people here in Gaza are suffering at this moment.
We can pack it up. I can go.
We're provisionally looking for